phrase as my phone turned off. It could not be discharged in any way, because it had been standing on the charger all day. I took myself in my hands and with a decisive step went to the pantry for candles. She lit a candle, took it in her hand and went to her room and began to pray that everything would stop. And then I heard footsteps in the apartment just down the corridor, at first slow, and then someone seemed to run into my room and stop next to me. And then I just started vomiting from fear. I ran to the toilet and threw up. Here I heard a call to the intercom. I was very surprised because I got that if there is no light in the house, then the intercom should not work. I didn't have time to run to the door when suddenly there was another knock on the front door. I froze, but then I heard my boyfriend's voice behind the door. With a sigh of relief, I opened the door. At the same moment, the lights in the whole apartment turned on, and I heard the phone ring in the room. The guy also saw how the lights were turned on throughout the apartment, and he was looking at my face, pale as white. We sat in the kitchen all night. After this incident, everyone in the house constantly heard someone walking around the apartment. Dishes were banging, wires were flying in the air by themselves. Relations in the family became strained, we cursed forever. Soon, we decided to move out of this apartment. It was sold, new residents moved there. Literally a month later, residents called us early in the morning and tearfully asked if we had noticed anything unusual in the apartment. We tremblingly answered in the negative, and they told us that they had heard their infant daughter screaming and crying during the night. They ran into the room, and there the child is hanging in the air, as if someone invisible is holding her by the throat. When the adults entered, the hand abruptly released its grip, and the girl fell to the floor and suffered a concussion. What it was, and how these people are now, I do not know. But I am very glad that we left this apartment on time. This happened recently, about a year or two ago. At that time, I lived with my parents in a 3-room apartment. I have always loved animals, but for some reason they did not stay with me for a long time. They either died or disappeared for unknown reasons. There were many times that an animal fell ill, and in a miserable condition we gave it to good hands, and literally after a week the animal revived, became healthy and lived for many more years. At first, I blamed everything on my sloppiness and inability to take care of it, but one day, when I got a dog, I looked at it from the other side. My dog kept looking at something as if he saw something we didn't, scolded something in the door, and growled. I explained it by the fact that she might hear the neighbors behind the wall. One night I was sleeping in my room and heard how the wires from the laptop, which are scattered throughout the apartment, began to move. This usually happens when someone from the household clings to them with their feet. And so I called my mother, but no one answered me. Then I called my brother. I was answered by someone's breathing, which did not look like human breathing. I thought my brother was playing a joke on me and shouted for him to stop. There was no answer, and I decided to go there and see who was playing. When I went out to the corridor, I did not see anyone. I went to my mother's room, she was sleeping. I went to my brother's room, and he is having the 10th dream there. And then I felt sick. The dog in turn howled in the room, which was not like her. After some time, I spent the night at home alone. I watched the movie, and went to sleep. Before I could turn off all the lights and settle under the covers, someone knocked 3 times on the bathroom door. Probably every person knows exactly what a knock on every door in his apartment sounds like. I was silent, there was a dead silence. I began to reassure myself that it seemed to me, but then there were 3 more knocks on the front door. I jumped out of bed, grabbed my phone, called my boyfriend and started explaining to him what happened. He told me not to panic, and to calm down, reminded me that I had definitely locked the door when he left me that evening. He advised me to go and look in the window. I did so. I walked down the corridor to the front door, turning on the lights everywhere along the way. When I got to the door, the lights in the entire apartment went out. I just froze in shock. Through the peephole, it was visible that there was a light on the lower floor. I started crying into the phone and begging the guy to come to me. He said that he was already leaving, but he did not have time to arrange the last one.